Hello, Virgo. How are you? I hope you are doing well. Excuse me while I shuffle because I forgot to shuffle. And I hit the record button. I was like, oh shit. But you know what? The show must go on. So, excuse me while I connect to your energy. But, Virgo, I'm very excited for this reading today. We have a very big week up ahead. We have a Cancer new moon ahead of us for, I think, Tuesday that we're having that. And during all of this, we're entering eclipse season, so that's huge. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of energy going on. It's a lot to handle. It's definitely overwhelming, but we will get through this because we've been doing it for countless years. So yeah. Virgo, we're going to be going over what you should be expecting for the week of July 1st. This can apply to your tropical, sidereal, or progressed Virgo sun, moon, and rising. If you don't know what your placements are, you can go onto astro.com and find everything that you need, okay? And if you'd like to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SinfulPluto. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. And let's see, if this resonates with you, I would love to hear your feedback in the comments down below. I would love it if you could like, share, and subscribe to my channel and continue supporting me. And if you're new here, thank you for being here and for watching this video. Welcome. My name is Nina. But yeah, and if you're returning, then welcome back, and I'm very happy to share this moment with you again. So, Virgo, what's in store for you the week of July 1st. I feel like many of you, excuse me while I get comfortable, many of you could be a little bit focused, perhaps a little bit too focused on appearances and the way that the world perceives you. Do they perceive you as pretty, as intellectual, as whatever it is that you want to be perceived as? Are they perceiving you that way? You could be dealing with a Pisces this week. Hanged Man here. You could be dealing with a Pisces. It could be that this week, it's definitely, I mean, all of us are going through some sort of massive transformation. So I'm not surprised that we have this card because this also talks about looking at things from a different perspective. And also, I think, viewing certain situations from a lens that you didn't see it before. Does that make sense? So let's say that you were stuck on, looking at something a certain way. And maybe you had a hard time solving the problem because you were so stuck on that one version of reality, on that one perception, right? Sorry. And so I feel like with this upcoming week, you're given the opportunity to look at things a little bit differently, have a new perspective, kind of tilt your vision. I kind of just see someone like tilting their head a little bit. And then when they do that, even like the smallest bit of kind of fragmentation, they're able to view the situation in a different light, and that's what helps them heal, and that's what's going to help you heal. We have the Three of Swords reversed. This is what is going to help you heal, is that new and different perspective, and kind of viewing things from a way where you are no longer the victim. Because the Hangman can sometimes signify someone playing a martyr or someone feeling like a victim. So I feel like that's kind of what's going on, is that kind of whole vibe. But I do think that there is a healing element going on and an ability. I even feel that, with whatever healing you have to go through, with whatever wounds that you end up tending to, I feel like that might help you look at things from a different perspective. It could also be that, you could be dealing with a Pisces and you're healing from something that involves a Pisces in your life, right? Or it could just even be yourself. And then we have the Eight of Swords. So feeling very mentally trapped, very mentally isolated. It's a mental imprisonment. But it's also complacency, because in the Eight of Swords, specifically in this card, but I love the Eight of Swords in this card. This is a Spellcaster's deck, if you're wondering. This is a Spellcaster's tarot. But, Eight of Swords, right? So this is feeling mentally trapped, right? We have the blindfold here, so you can't really see the reality of a situation. And, you know, the person is tied up, but if you notice, his hands aren't tied up. His, you know, sure, his feet are bound, but his hands aren't. So he can take off the blindfold. He can take off the ropes. He can run from the fire that is building behind him, you know? He doesn't just have to sit here in front of the fire like the, what is this? I don't want to call it a cow, but I have no idea what this is. An ox? Whatever this animal is doing, you know, he's just chilling in the water, like, I don't see it. I don't see the fire behind me. I'm going to just stay here. It's kind of nice and warm. And so with the Eight of Swords, it's like, you have the capability to run away. Or not even run away. You have the capability to leave the situation. You have the capability to untie yourself, to unbind yourself. You know, you are not as tied down as you might believe, right? It's mostly your thoughts that are really impacting you. You know, your mind is so much more powerful than we might give it credit for. And, you know, obviously, escaping from the circumstances that your mind kind of perceives or creates, it's difficult, and it's definitely not an easy process to escape from this mental prison, because a lot of us don't realize that we have the key to unlocking ourselves from our own demise. And so I feel that there is a little bit of anxiety for you this week, for you, Virgo. And it does require having to look at things from a different perspective. Because, I mean, you're stuck because you're looking at things from the same way. You're stuck because you feel like a victim. You're stuck because you feel that maybe you feel invalidated. Or maybe you feel that things just aren't going your way, or that you won't get your way. And, you know, this isn't me trying to invalidate your experience. No, not at all. Your experience is definitely valid, absolutely. And you are valid to be feeling the way that you feel. Absolutely, like definitely. But I feel that in order for you to have this healing moment, there's, at one point or another, there is a level of action that you do have to take and kind of unlearn the helplessness, I guess you could say, and kind of take that leap of faith in a sense. And like I said, look at things from a different perspective with the Hanged Man. Okay? This could be in relation to an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. We have the King of Swords. I'm getting mostly Aquarius from this, so you could be dealing with an Aquarius. You know, maybe an Aquarius is the one who is making you feel trapped. Maybe it's an Aquarius who is making you feel confused and anxious and nervous, and, you know, you don't really know what to do. And you feel kind of confused, and you feel like on the defense, and you feel really lost, honestly. And you feel on guard, and you don't know where to point your sword, and you don't know which path to take. And I think it's because this person could be honestly playing mind games with you with the King of Swords. I don't really like having the King of Swords out here because he's someone very rigid, someone very like stuck in their ways, someone very fixed, someone very Aquarian, honestly. And I feel as though this king might wield a little bit too much power. And I feel that they rely on that in order to keep you where they want to keep you. Excuse me. So in order to release yourself from this learned helplessness and from this position of honestly powerlessness, it really is time to look at things from a different perspective and maybe reflect on, why is this person doing this? Why does this person feel to specifically target me? Why does he want me to feel trapped and enclosed? You know, what is the purpose behind all of that? What is the end goal behind of that? What insecurity is he projecting onto me? or displacing onto me. That somehow requires him to treat me the way that he's treating me. You know, look at things from a more objective and almost kind of like psychological way. I mean, again, Hanged Man. Look at things from a different way. I feel like kind of, how do I say this? Like, I'm imagining, you know, someone's body, and then I don't want to say like dissociating. It's not dissociating, but like an out of body experience where like this, like the soul or the spirit kind of like comes out, right? And then they see everything kind of going on from a third party perspective, if you will. And they see things a lot more objectively. So I feel like that's kind of like what has to go on is like you kind of have to like detach yourself from your own human experience so that you can see everything that's going on in a rational and logical perspective, and without getting your emotions or irrationality get in the way of all of that. Does that kind of make sense? Or like your anxious thoughts like get in the way of all of that. Does that make sense? And then we have the Chariot. So you could be dealing with a Cancer as well, but this to me talks about like having to assert your dominance, having to assert your independence, you know, no longer taking shit, and freeing yourself from this Eight of Swords and from this Nine of Wands. This is about finding clarity. This is about no longer being under someone else's rule, no longer following someone else's rules. Like, you need to be making your own rules, and you need to be asserting your own independence and your own freedom and liberating yourself from things that don't serve you, essentially. I mean, that's what it really is. Maybe it's a Cancer who helps you out, or maybe it's just water signs that help you out this week. Virgo. Maybe water signs are the ones helping you out and, you know, nurturing you and kind of taking care of you and like work. I keep on thinking like putting you back to your health, or like nurturing you back to health. So take that for what it resonates, but that's what I do see from you. And I feel like what I'm getting from this is like, run now, grieve later. Because we do have the Nine of Wands reversed, which to me is like not wanting to let go and, you know, not wanting to... Because, I mean, the way that I see it is like, even though you're miserable in this situation, it's still comfortable to you, and there's a sense of familiarity with this King of Swords. And so it's like, you don't want to let them go because, you know, maybe deep down you feel that you can fix them, or maybe deep down you feel that there is potential to fix the situation, essentially. Because you are a fixer. You're very much a fixer. You and Pisces always want to fix people, but you can't even fix yourselves. So I feel like right now it's just like a time where it's like, you know, go now and worry about your emotions later, because I don't want you to be lingering in this energy for that long. I don't want you to be lingering in this anxiety for who knows how long. I don't want you to do that, Virgo. I really don't. And I feel like it's really time to assert your independence and kind of put your foot down. And be clear as to what to do. Also, like, be clear as to who you need to cut off. Because the Ace of Wands or the Ace of Swords reverse is someone who doesn't really know, like, they don't have mental clarity. They lack mental clarity. They lack as to who they can, they lack sight or vision as in relation to who they can trust and who they cannot trust. And with the Ace of Swords upright, this to me is like cutting people off and being very, very clear about your intentions. You know, Ace of Swords reverse is like not really being clear on what you want, not really knowing where to go, not knowing what your purpose is, you know, all of that. So it's time to just cut people off. Like, if people are trying to manipulate you or anything, you need to cut them off. Specifically, it's an Aquarius or just any other air sign. If it's like someone who's like big boss, like trying to like intimidate you in any way, no, absolutely not. No. You have to let go of that. And so it's time to put like your emotions aside, in the sense that like your idealism. Like, set your idealism to the side for, like, 1 second and just leave the situation and detach from your, like, human existence. Like I said, have, like, that out-of-the-body experience where you see things objectively. And once you do that, you know, you'll see for what it is, and then, like, later you can deal with your emotions properly and finally allow yourself to grieve and all of that. But right now is not the time to grieve. Right now is the time to honestly take action and kind of just, like, stop waiting around and no longer linger in your complacency. And I'm not saying that as a way to offend, and I'm not saying that as a way to, like, blame you at. Not at all. Like, absolutely, like, that's farthest from my intention. But it's definitely time to take action and to boss up and show who this King of Swords is messing with, because that's not it. That's really not it. But some of you, even on the flip side, some of you could be taking on the role of the King of Swords, and maybe you feel trapped in this role of, like, trying to assert your dominance, trying too hard to be incredibly rational, and trying too hard to be a leader, or maybe even feeling incredibly anxious about being a leader, incredibly anxious about, you know, having to be, like, rational or something. Like, maybe there's a logical decision that you have to make. Or maybe it's just the fact that, like, you're playing the role of this very confident and, like, kind of rigid King of Swords, who is very intellectual and, you know, very wise, I guess you could say. But maybe it's a way to hide the pain, and maybe it's a way to cope with the pain that you feel inside. But on the inside, this is how you're feeling. You're feeling on guard, and you're feeling like you don't know what to do. You don't know what path to take. You don't know who you can trust. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to say and when to say it and how to say it. It could be that maybe some of you are just incredibly critical. Ace of Swords reverse, that's a very sharp tongue. That's someone incredibly critical. That's someone who doesn't know how to speak not coherently, eloquently. How to speak with awareness. How to mindfully communicate. So maybe this week is all about finding a new perspective as to how to deal with that difficulty in proper and effective communication. And just moving forward from that phase of your life. All right. So, what does Virgo need to hear for the week of July 1st? What messages does Virgo need to hear right now? What messages does Virgo need to hear right now? If you're wondering, I'm using the Spirit Animal Oracle, and then I'm using the Spellcaster's Tarot. Oh, freaking fell. Yo, these cards keep on falling, and I'm... Woo! Alrighty. We have Transformation is Beautiful and Surrender Now. Alrighty. So we have the Moth and the Butterfly. Interesting. So this to me, I mean, both of them, like, they're both insects and they know how to fly. They have fucking wings. You know, they go through, like, the cocoon phase, I'm pretty sure. At least the butterfly does, I think. I hope. Otherwise, that just looks silly. But this, to me, both of them, this talks about, like, a transformation and, like, a metamorphosis from, you know, being a caterpillar to turning into a butterfly or turning into a moth. And I think also learning the balance between light and day, or, like, night, dark and light, and, like, night and day, with the butterfly and the moth, because I'm pretty sure moths only, like, really come out at night, or, like, they're attracted to light. So this to me is, like, balancing those two out and, like, finding, like, temperance, you know, like, finding, like, some sort of moderation or compromise and merging the two worlds together. Like, everything doesn't have to be so completely black and white and so rigid. You know, things come together and they create that gray area. So Butterfly Spirit, Transformation is Beautiful. Don't be so scared of transformation. Don't be so scared of looking at things from a new perspective. And I feel like as long as you remain rigid and as long as you are incredibly unwilling to make any sort of change, to make any sort of moderation, any sort of compromise, then you are going to remain in the Eight of Swords. You're going to remain feeling trapped. You're going to remain feeling all of this anxiety and all of this stuff. So, like, as long as you know, personally do not put any sort of effort or work into changing things, or changing the way that you see things, or changing the way that you react to things, the same cycle is kind of just going to repeat itself. So definitely, as Moth Spirit says, surrender now and kind of just let the universe take control of the situation. You don't have to be in control of the situation. Otherwise, you're just going to feel completely on guard and block off your blessings because you're just so guarded and blocked off. So that's just something to keep in mind. Excuse me, for you, Virgo. I really hope that this resonates with you, and I will talk to you soon. Alrighty. I love you so much. Bye.